I love Mike's segue here because I was talking about Amazon
Yeah, wow.
shows, and then he brought up the Rings of Power. I have not watched it yet. I have heard so many bad things and so many good things. So
Yeah, because you know how to let online crybabies
yeah,
ruin a show for you before you even try
well,
it.
that's why we do this show so that you guys can tell me whether you liked it because you're my friends outside of this stream, and I like pretty much what you guys like. So what did you guys think about Rings of
Yeah, let's
Power?
let's get into talking about season two. Season two. So Rings of Power, since Matt doesn't know, and we're gonna talk it. There's 3 episodes out. We're gonna talk about those episodes. Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen them yet.
It's okay. I don't care
Watch
about
them.
spoilers.
Yeah, you have to deal with it. I'm just that was for the audience. That was for anybody who may
Okay.
watch this. But just to fill you in, Rings of Power takes place hundreds of years before the Lord of the Rings action that we know and love. It's got young Galadriel and young Elrond running around with young Sauron just coming into power. And in the first season, he basically gets to Mordor, right? That's about how far that journey took him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he
So
deceived Galadriel, and he deceived Elrond, and he tricked him into making the 3 elven rings in the first season.
yeah, just
Can,
like a,
can I
a
pop
quick.
in for a sec before you get in
Yes.
Oh
too
yeah, yeah.
deep? I just have to say, no joke. Last night I watched the Return of the King riff tracks.
Nice.
If you guys have not watched, and this, they're not paying us, but if
Oh,
you
the Rift
guys want
Tracks
to
guys?
watch,
What, they stopped the
yeah.
checks? What's happening? I thought we were on the payroll.
But if you want to watch some absolutely hilarious, like any of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, and have them be hilarious, watch them with the riff tracks. They're the guys that did MST3K. But
Yes.
yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a coincidence that I watched Return of the King last night with the riff tracks, and now we're talking about the Rings of Power. But yeah, continue, please. I'm sorry for
That's
the
fine. It was
tangent.
Lord of the Rings related at least.
Yeah,
At
Yeah.
yeah,
least.
yeah.
So
So,
then what? Yeah, season 2 picks up. What were you going to say, Andre? AC?
just like a quick recap of the first season. It was uh, basically Galadriel. Uh, she wants to seek revenge on Sauron because he killed her brother in the first age.
Finrod.
Um, Sauron is basically like he's not even like the big baddie of Middle Earth, the Lord of the Rings. He was a lieutenant of Morgoth, who is basically he's basically the devil of
Okay,
that world.
okay.
And
So because I haven't watched, sorry to interrupt again.
No, go ahead.
Does any of this tie into the Shadows games?
a little bit, actually,
Sauron.
this next season actually really does too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Because
Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor is all over this series. Celebrimbor
yes,
was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Celebrimbor is all over this
Okay.
series.
Okay. All right. Well, now you've got me.
There you
and
go.
Now I'm in.
so
Now I'm in.
basically, yeah, Galadriel makes her way back to Middle Earth because she was actually outcast by the other elves because they thought she was getting a little bit too obsessed with revenge and Middle Earth and all that.
Which she is.
Yeah, she's really obsessed. And so they both Sauron and Galadriel actually meet each other, even though that Galadriel doesn't know that the dude is Sauron.
Because he's
You
like,
shall have a
I'm the other
queen!
guy. He's just, they don't ask for ID back then. There's no ID cards. He's
Yeah.
just like, hey, check out this pouch with a symbol on it. I'm their king. And she's like, cool. I'm going to help you.
Yeah, and so they eventually they make their way to like the kingdom where this guy claims he's from, and but unknown to like basically everybody, the orcs have been plotting to like destroy it all, and the very end of the season is like they set off this volcano which basically creates
Turn the
Mordor.
Southlands into Mordor.
Yeah,
Mount Doom. It was Mount Doom. They set off Mount Doom. There was this big elaborate trap in this city where if you put a sword in the right slot and twist it, then it opens up the floodgates and the water goes to the volcano. And for some reason, that makes it erupt. It's great.
Right. And then, but what I've been loving about this new season is that you kind of learn that Sauron really doesn't, he's not really in that control that you think he is, because
Yeah.
the orcs don't like him.
He's a manipulator. He's a
Yeah.
deceiver.
And so that's why he needs to create the rings and the One Ring so that he can control the orcs, basically to dominate, because that's his whole deal, like his power
Wants to rule the world.
Okay.
of
Okay.
all the
So
Maiars, be like he can like manipulate people, but he just like needs more power to do it, because
Huh.
in the first episode where we see it's a flashback, he seems like very unconfident and like nervous when he's like trying to convince the orcs,
Yeah.
to help him. And
That
then
was a weird flashback, man. Like, what a journey. This season opens with this flashback of Sauron in a previous form being killed by these orcs, and this main orc, Adar, who's like a villain throughout all this so far. And then he turns into this goo and drips into the ground, and then waits a while until a rat comes along and then eats it and starts to take form. And he just keeps eating stuff until he becomes a human again. It was gross and weird. I liked it.
yeah, it was so cool, because it's sort of like the best visual way that you can understand like what the Maiar are,
Yeah.
because he's a Maiar. So is Gandalf.
So
Like,
is Randall
okay.
Flagg, probably.
So all right. And try, because I haven't watched this. Try to give me a visual, and I'm kind of getting the Sauron's character here. He's one of those guys that he doesn't have the physical strength to, lead, and he doesn't have the charisma to lead. So he's just going to try to manipulate people like a coward.
Yeah, that's his whole thing.
But he gets killed, right? And then he dies. Does he start coming back like that scene in Hellraiser with the the pour the blood on the thing, and then the Uncle Frank starts coming out of the floor? Is that kind of how he does it? Like, for those that have seen Hellraiser?
Actually, kind of, because like even though like his current physical form was basically stabbed to death, like there was like basically just like a few drops of blood that like sunk into some water,
like he's
able to resurrect himself.
I see Mike searching it. It's
I found it.
Yeah, this might be an NSFW.
Is this too gross to show?
It might be.
I'll probably stop then.
Because like deep lore wise, the Maiar are basically immortal.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
like Uncle Frank in Hellraiser.
Yeah, but they're like angels.
Okay.
And so is Gandalf. Gandalf is a Maiar, but he's called one of the Astari, which are like the good ones.
Okay.
And so that's why Gandalf didn't die at that time, because he was able to resurrect himself.
Into Gandalf the White.
AC's got the Tolkien lore here.
Hell yeah.
I'm digging it.
Dude, I've been reading these books since as long as I can remember. I've been reading these books forever.
I listened to Andy Serkis read the Silmarillion a few weeks back. I went through that, put it on as my background noise. It was really great.
I remember I read The Hobbit in junior high and the Lord of the Rings series, maybe in junior high as well. But that was the last time I actually read them, because the movies came out shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why read when I could go watch the movie? Because,
Because you're an American, and that's what Americans
do. Yeah.
Toker, welcome to it. Thanks for joining us.
The other big plot point of this season is that the High King of the Elves, Gil-galad, he wants the three rings because like the light has faded from it, and it sounds so weird to say. The light has faded from Middle Earth. So basically, like the elves, who are like beings of magic, and they're supposed to be like the caretakers of nature. Since there's no light left in Middle Earth, they have to leave. But if Gil-galad has the rings, they can kind of preserve their way of life. And Elrond,
stay in Middle Earth instead of going to the West.
yeah, and Elrond, who is half elf, he's half human, he's half elf. He's like, didn't you just say like this dude is Sauron? And
Wait. Elrond that had a beef with yeah, that's exactly Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
He's half elf.
The halfie.
Yeah.
So why was he so pissed off when Liv Tyler was trying to get with Aragorn?
Because he's a damn hypocrite like most elves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't. Well, I mean, he was a dad who like just loved his daughter, and he didn't want his daughter to
Plus,
like.
did you see that scruffy looking ranger? Come on, you want her marrying him? She's an elf princess for crying out loud.
He was dreamy.
I mean, yeah, he just wanted to protect her from grief because he knew that, like, yeah, Aragorn's going to die, but you won't. And so you're just going to be, like, sad for centuries.
Well, didn't he have, like, unusually long life, too?
He did, but still not as long as...
One of the lines that was one of the lines in The Two Towers was, like, my uncle said you fought with my grandfather, and that would make you at least 90. And he was like, yup.
Yeah, but he was still mortal because he's part of the Númenórean, which are like they're still humans, but they have like longer lives than regular humans. So
is that what we're going to evolve into? We're going to evolve into the Númenor.
I'm done evolving, dude. I'm not evolving into nothing.
I am no longer evolving. We got Númenóreans in this series too. Isildur. We have Isildur.
Isildur
fame.
Yeah, and Elendil, Isildur's dad, who is like also kind of like the big hero of like all of the humans, and he's the one who kind of like in the book lore. I'm not sure how to do it in the show, but he's kind of one that like gathers everyone, like the men and the elves, to be like, hey, we got to go get this guy, this Sauron dude, and
he's the
fight
one that
him.
Cuts the ring off his hand.
He is.
I can't wait. I hope this series gets to that part. That'd be fun.
Well, that's Aragorn's granddad, right? Like, because he says throughout the series,
like his ancestor, because this is like taking place over hundreds of years. But
oh, right. But he's Isildur's heir.
Yeah.
They kept mentioning that in the movies. Isildur's heir.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they catch up to that timeline with the series, and hopefully they'll be able to be like, okay, this is what's next. This is the start of Lord of the Rings, basically.
Yeah, we saw him cut the ring off in flashbacks and stuff in the Lord of the Rings, but we didn't see that whole war. We just saw parts of the battle. There was a few scenes in a few of the movies that showed that whole battle with Sauron and Isildur.
Yeah, and then they also
get the whole meat of it.
And then they also have the stranger.
Yeah.
Who they're refusing to.
Yeah, just say it. Just say it.
It's Gandalf.
It's Gandalf. But they haven't called him Gandalf in the show yet. They haven't called him that yet.
Yeah, because
he's goddamn Gandalf, and everybody knows it. Even the proto-halflings know it. The Harfoots.
The Harfoots.
So what I want to see is, like, when I was playing the Shadows games, right? Is Saruman a human or an elf? I thought he was an elf.
He's a wizard.
Saruman's a wizard. He's one of the other Maiar.
Sauron, sorry, not Saruman.
He is one of the angel race that's different than the Maiar, right? AC knows.
They're all Maiar, but the 5 wizards that were sent to Middle Earth are called the Astari, who are the wizards. And yes, there's Saruman.
But no, Sauron. Which Sauron is part of which branch? Some other branch?
No. Yeah, it's confusing. Saruman, Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And yeah, so him, Gandalf, Radagast, the brown wizard that we see in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
And
Doctor Who.
There's That's 2 others, and all of them are brothers.
There's a blue and a green one, I think. I don't know
mean,
if you said those
I
already.
think they're brothers. I might be wrong about that, but they're all Maiar. They're
Yeah.
the angel race that comes from this
Okay.
other.
But then Sauron, is he Maiar also, or is it something else?
Oh,
Yeah, he is Maiar.
Okay. But
I was
he's not a
getting
wizard branch Maiar. He's another branch of him?
No, the
Is that right?
Astari were sent to like fight Sauron.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
getting confused because I was thinking about Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor is an elf.
Yeah, and
Dang
that's
elf.
I was getting them mixed up. I was getting Sauron and Celebrimbor mixed up because I was like, how does he turn into this little dainty elf and then all of a sudden he's that big giant armor-clad dude?
Well,
But
now
at the same time, like
that's where they're getting into in this season of the show is like because Sauron, he can like his specialty is just like deception. Like he can change his form. He can like turn into anybody basically.
okay,
And so he comes to Celebrimbor to like say, "Hey, I can help you make these rings. That way we can preserve the way of life of, us elves." Because he comes to Celebrimbor as an elf, basically, and says, "Hey, let's do this, buddy." But secretly, Sauron was, basically plotting to like create the ring so that he can control the elves and, the men of the dwarves.
well, you know what will get me watching the show is one, what you guys have been saying because
You
it might
said we
tie
already
into the
sold
shadows.
you.
Well, you did, but I do really want to see Shelob in her human form.
Oh, we just had a little spider cave action in the last episode. Don't worry. Oh, in her human form. Well,
Human
I don't
form.
know if we're going to see that. I think we're going to see Shelob, though, aren't we?
Yeah, she's been teased a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. We're still not that far into the show, maybe, but no, Shelob does kind of play up it. Well, she doesn't really play a big role in a lot of like the stuff that's going on. She's kind of just like the daughter of the spider god Aldegonth, who was Morgoth's. Man,
Dang, bro. You're pulling some deep cuts out of the Silmarillion, just out of memory. That's impressive.
sound like such a nerd talking about this stuff.
I could do the same thing with Star Wars, so I love it. Like, get what you get and nerd out about it. Like, I could go down a huge rabbit hole with Star Wars.
But no, that's why I'm liking the show so much is because like it's pulling some deep cuts and it's showing stuff that isn't necessarily written in the Silmarillion, because the Silmarillion is mostly in the first age.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings takes place in the third age. And so the second age, between that time period, Tolkien wrote a lot about it, but like not a whole lot of like big details, really.
Yeah, it's like the biblical broad strokes of the world.
And so it's like, and that's kind of like one of the things that is like, some nerds are getting like pissed off about the show is like, you're taking liberties. This probably never happened, and it's like,
ooh, the work has evolved after 100 years or so. Boo. I'm just kidding. When did he write these? It hasn't been 100 years, but yeah, like let it grow. Let it grow. Deal with it.
Yeah, it's like other writers just like appreciating the work, and it's like,
yeah,
you don't have to watch the show. This is not the definitive like vision of Tolkien. But it's still, fun and entertaining.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he wrote these books is like for, imagination.
Exactly.
To run wild, and he created this cool world. So why not play with it? So
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, just like the first episode of this season, we forgot to mention the dwarves, but we've also got Durin's line in this show.
Oh.
We've got King Durin and his son Durin, right? They're both Durin.
Yeah, they're all Durin.
They're all Durin. But this line goes all the way down to one of the dwarves in The Hobbit, right? Do you know which one? AC, I'm guessing you do?
Yeah, the line of Durin is Oakenshield, right?
Yeah, Thorin.
Okay.
Thorin Oakenshield.
So they are Thorin was a descendant of these Durins.
Yeah,
and we're in Khazad-dûm. They're in Khazad-dûm before it, like, gets into the state it's in Lord of the Rings, which is exciting to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I'm interested to see like how Elrond and Durin kind of like, because Elrond was the one who told Durin like mine deeper so that we can get the mithril,
Yeah.
so that we can create the rings.
Yeah.
Oh,
And this
And
Durin,
then-
this younger Durin, is friends with Elrond in the series, and they have this friendship that his dad didn't like, and then he helped him make the first few rings with some mithril, and then now in the new season they've hooked him up with some more mithril after convincing his grumpy dad that they should do it.
And that's pretty much like why they implied like in Lord of the Rings, like from Gimli and like the other dwarves that you see, it's like they don't like the elves because of that.
Yeah.
okay.
So bit of a grudge.
I'm gonna try to convince the wife to go and watch this
Just tell her to
tonight.
watch this
Start
episode
watching.
of Jolt.
I think she is actually.
Oh.
But I'm gonna see if she wants to watch this tonight, and then we're going to. I might have some questions for you offline because I love talking to knowledgeable people about their fandoms, and I love that you, AC, are so big into the Lord of the Rings because I'm just the average fan. But this is great. Like, what was it that you were listening to read by?
The Silmarillion was read by Andy Serkis. Yeah. It's an audio. It's on Spotify if you have premium. I listen to it for free on Spotify Premium.
Yeah, it's not really a traditional novel. It's kind of more like a history book.
Was it written by J.R.R. Tolkien?
Yeah, it's his notes on the whole world. So it's like stories. It's biblical style stories of the Lord of the Rings world. It's like the Lord of the Rings Bible, kind of.
Yeah. Actually, there is a really great YouTube video that I think I'll post in chat right now.
I'm starting.
And in our Discord
I just started a Rings of Power. Yeah, I just started a Rings of Power thread. We can talk Rings of Power in there. Feel free. It's in the Discord. Link in the description for the Discord for anybody that wants to join us.
He basically explains like the whole universe in like
and the Maiar and the angels and the demons.
5 minutes, and like you watch that and then like it'll make sense.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, because I could, like, the way you're talking about Lord of the Rings, I could do the same with Star Wars. I love it.